Honorable Shri P Chidambaram ji.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Please, no crosstalk, please. Please, no crosstalk.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I realize that I am following the Leader of the Opposition, Shri Kargeji, who in an elaborate speech has covered almost all aspects of the subject.
Close. Let it close. Yeah.
Almost all aspects of the subject.
It's okay.
So mic is not working.
Mic is not.
Mic is not working.
It's working. It's working. Sir, I'm
No,
glad
mic is on.
that we are eventually discussing Operation Sindoor. Ever since Operation Sindoor ended, we have been demanding that a special session of Parliament be called and to discuss Operation Sindoor. But the government, for reasons best known to it, refused to call a special session. All over the world, in every democratic country, where a war has taken place, even during the war, Parliament is in session. Example is the United Kingdom. And certainly after the war, the Parliament is convened to discuss various aspects of the war. If the subject is India's strong, successful and decisive Operation Sindoor in response to a terrorist attack in Pahalgam, there can be no quarrel with that subject. The subject is really the aftermath of Operation Sindoor, the consequences of Operation Sindoor. On the subject itself, if you ask me, was Operation Sindoor strong? I would say yes. Was Operation Sindoor successful? I would say yes. If you ask me, was Operation Sindoor decisive? I can only say time will tell. Whether Operation Sindoor was decisive, only time will tell. I'm reminded of a decisive war. On December 16, 1971, there was a historic victory. General Niazi surrendered to General Jagjit Singh Arora along with 93,000 soldiers. It was the largest surrender of prisoners of war after World War II. That was a decisive victory. On the contrary, Operation Sindoor ended with a ceasefire. The India-Pakistan war over Bangladesh ended with a surrender of the Pakistani forces in favor of India. Operation Sindoor ended with a ceasefire. I think the people of India know the difference between surrender and a ceasefire. The government claimed, and we accepted, India has destroyed terrorist infrastructure in Pakistan in 9 places. We accept it. India had severely damaged 11 military air bases. We accept it. But why did India agree to a ceasefire? Yes. That is the question. Yes. The consequences of Operation Sindoor, the aftermath of Operation Sindoor is the question. Please remember that the Congress Working Committee was called after the Pahalgam attack, and we extended unconditional, full support to the government. So did the India bloc parties. Nobody had any reservation in entrusting to the government full authority, full power, and full support to take whatever action it chose fit. I wrote 2 columns on May 4 and May 11. In fact, a couple of my friends commented that the column was very soft on government. I said maybe, but this is consistent with my party line. This is consistent with my belief that in a warlike situation, we must trust the government, we must repose faith in the government, and allow the government to take whatever action it needs to take. I must record that the military leadership of India was exemplary. Let me repeat, the military leadership of India was exemplary. And not only during Operation Sindoor, but after Operation Sindoor, the military leadership has been candid and forthright. The Chief of Defense Staff admitted tactical mistakes. He also said, after the tactical mistakes, they paused, and the military leaders got together and re-strategized. He admitted losses. Which is why, while I call the CDS and the other military leaders, their leadership exemplary, I call them candid, forthright, and transparent, because he admitted tactical mistakes, re-strategizing, and admitted losses. The Deputy Chief of Army Staff admitted that Chinese aircraft had been deployed. He also admitted that Chinese missiles had been deployed. He also admitted that drones, and we gather it's from Turkey, were deployed. If true, and I see no reason to disbelieve the Chief of Defense Staff and the Deputy Chief of Army Staff, if true, if Chinese aircraft J-10 and Chinese missiles PL-15 were deployed by Pakistan, the only conclusion is China was testing its military hardware in the India-Pakistan conflict. The Congress Working Committee, which met later, pointed out there was an intelligence and security failure. But government has so far not acknowledged the security failure and the intelligence failure. Please remember, I think Milind and Praful mentioned the Mumbai terror attack. I took over as Home Minister the day after the Mumbai terror attack was ended on December 1. Within a few days, I flew to Bombay. I think Milind was with me. Flew to Bombay, and in the first press conference, I said, I admit security failure, intelligence failure, and I regret the failure. Why can't the government say that?
Yes. Yes.
We also did a number of things. We also, to borrow the word of the Chief of Defense Staff, re-strategized. Within a month, 30 days, I asked the Cabinet to approve the National Investigation Agency Act. It was passed in that session and notified on 31st December 2018. The first two Director Generals of NIA were outstanding officers, one from Kerala cadre and one from Rajasthan cadre. We also amended the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. We set up the NAD grid. We quickened the implementation of the CCTNS. And all this was done in 30 days. In fact, I may take you into confidence. I thought I had done my job and I should leave the Home Ministry. I was moved much against my wishes. But we did this in 30 days. We took confidence, we took the Parliament into confidence and did all these things. Now, where is that re-strategy? Where is the taking the Parliament into confidence? We heard the ministers. They were singing the praises of Operation Sindoor, for which I have no objection. But what about the aftermath of Operation Sindoor, the consequences of Operation Sindoor? We are in the same advanced stage of wisdom as when this debate began in the Lok Sabha yesterday. While I congratulated the military leadership as exemplary, I know what everybody will know what I'm intending to say. The political leadership has been thoroughly disappointing. The defense minister made a spirited statement yesterday in the Lok Sabha. Today he was his usual subdued, moderate self. The foreign minister made an articulate reply in the Lok Sabha. Today is not yet spoken. But I hope when the foreign minister speaks, because the defense minister has already spoken, they will copy or emulate the candor of the military leadership, admit the mistakes, and tell us what they are doing to re-strategize. So please understand, it's no longer preparing for a one-front war or a two-front war. Pakistan and China are no longer different fronts. It's a fused front. The pilots were Pakistanis, the aircraft were Chinese. The finger was Pakistani military leaders, the missiles were Chinese. The operator was Pakistani, the drones were from Turkey. Where is your plan? To fight not a one-front war, not a two-front war, but a fused front war of India fighting Pakistan and China fused together. Look at our neighbors. All our other neighbors are relatively peaceful. But on the northern and western and eastern border, we have India and China, and if they are fused in one front, that runs about 8,000 kilometers of border. Where is the thinking? Where is the hint of a thinking? So, After Operation Sindoor, the Foreign Secretary and his wife were trolled. Daughter was trolled. The Chief of Defense Staff was trolled. And I asked the government, did they not rise to his defense? I didn't hear they are rising to their defenses. The CDS carried out the instructions of the government and successfully conducted Operation Sindoor. The Foreign Secretary was reporting the political decision to agree to a ceasefire. But to my great regret, the Foreign Secretary and his daughter were trolled. He had to shut down his social account, and the CDS was trolled. But I didn't see the political leadership rising to the defense of the military leadership.
Yes.
Sir, I move to another aspect of the consequences of Operation Sindoor. We sent delegations. The Congress Party also sent its members. I think the MPs did as best a job as they could do. But look at the context. During and after Operation Sindoor, mark my words, during Operation Sindoor, May 7th to May 10th, and after Operation Sindoor, on 9th of May 2025, IMF approved $1 billion to Pakistan under the Extended Fund Facility, bringing the total disbursements to $2.1 billion. India sits on the 18-member committee of IMFC, International Monetary Fund Committee. We did not vote against the proposal. We abstained. Why? Why did we abstain? Should we not have voted against the proposal?
Yes.
By saying Operation Sindoor is going on and you are giving money for what? That money will fuel the war. On 3rd of June 2025, Asian Development Bank approved a loan of $800 million. Recently, the World Bank decided to lend $40 billion over a 10-year period. So who in the World Bank, who in the Asian Development Bank, who in the IMF is standing by us? US and China, otherwise rivals, voted in favor of all the proposals. They didn't abstain. They voted in favor of all the proposals. India did not vote against, but abstained. Is this the political leadership that the military leadership deserves? Is this the political leadership that India deserves? Is this the political leadership that pays tribute to the soldiers and the warriors who carried out Operation Sindoor? Worse, many members have mentioned, Pakistan has been elected as chairman of the UNSC Taliban Sanctions Committee. Pakistan has been elected as a vice chairman of the UNDC Counter-Terrorism Committee. This is the greatest irony. Pakistan is being elected vice chairman of the Counter-Terrorism Committee. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi, my honorable Foreign Minister's good friend, he meets him often. China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi praised Pakistan's resolute action on terrorism and supported Pakistan. Our foreign minister, after he made the statement, met Mr. Wang Yi. He also had an audience with President Xi. Now, will you please tell us, what did he tell Mr. Wang Yi and what did he tell President Xi? We'll come to President Trump later. But this is Mr. Wang Yi and Mr. President Xi, who support Pakistan, praise Pakistan's resolute action on terrorism. What did we do? And I ask most humbly, I may be wrong, the foreign minister can correct me. We sent delegations to so many countries. Why did we not send to our immediate neighbors? Nepal, Bhutan, Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Maldives, Mauritius. Have we given up on our immediate neighbors? And besides, the further question arises, we send delegations to so many countries. Everyone condemned terrorism, sympathized with the victims in India. But which country condemned, named, and shamed Pakistan? I have scoured through the newspapers to the best of my knowledge, and I'm willing to be corrected. Is there a single country which condemned Pakistan, named Pakistan as a terrorist country?
No, none.
Sir, terrorism has not been wiped out in this country. I have been Home Minister. I was bloodied in I had my baptism immediately after a terror attack. There are foreign terrorists infiltrated by Pakistan. There's no question about it. I accept it. I know it. I may not be as intelligent, but I'm not stupid. Pakistan infiltrates foreign terrorists. But please remember, there are also India-based terrorists, homegrown terrorists. They work together most of the time. They work separately. For example, Milind mentioned 3 attacks. The 2006 Mumbai attack was by home-based terrorists. 2008 Mumbai attack was Pakistan infiltrated terrorists. 2011 terror attack was again home-based terrorists. So terrorism does not divide by the border. There are infiltrated terrorists, there are home-based terrorists. Most of the time they work together. If you claim that the terrorist ecosystem has been demolished, that's wrong. At the all-party meeting on 24th April 2025, the Home Ministry disclosed that between June 2014 and May 2024, that is the entire period of NDA government, before and after I'll come to, there were 1,643 terrorist incidents, 1,925 infiltration attempts, 726 successful infiltrations, and 576 security personnel were killed. I can have the data for the previous government of UPA 1 and UPA 2, for the previous government of Shri Vajpayee ji, and the NDA government. So let's accept the fact that terror ecosystem has not been demolished. It will be difficult to demolish, but we can demolish. Now let me get back to the ceasefire and I'll conclude. kindly remember, President Donald Trump will not vanish until January 2029. That's our misfortune or fortune. Until January 2029, President Trump will be there. And he has only said it 29th time. And as the LOP said, before he finishes, when we read our newspapers tomorrow, he may have said it the 30th time. 1 minute. And he will say it several times. He is claiming to have stopped 6 wars. Cambodia, Thailand, Slovenia, Kosovo, Rwanda, Congo, and India and Pakistan. We are bristling now. But what did the Prime Minister say 5 years ago? Ab ki baar Trump sarkar. I'm sure the Prime Minister deeply regrets he ever said ab ki baar Trump sarkar. Now the sequence of events between May 7 and May 10 has been described. I want to ask one question. On May 10 at 3:30 p.m., the DGMOs of the 2 countries spoke on telephone. They could not have spoken without pre-instructions. There would be instructions from the government to the DGMO India. There would be instructions from government of Pakistan to DGMO Pakistan. They could not have spoken without instructions. They could not have agreed without instruction. And after agreement, they could not have not reported to their respective governments. Where is the record? The record will tell us. At 5:25 p.m., and I've asked this question several times, 3:35, the DGMO spoke. 5:25, before any Indian minister, before any Indian official announced the ceasefire, President Trump said, I am pleased to announce that India and Pakistan have agreed to a ceasefire. A few minutes later, Secretary Marco Rubio said, India and Pakistan have agreed to a ceasefire and will meet at a neutral site. At 6:05 p.m., Foreign Secretary announced the ceasefire, and he was trolled for that. Why has the Prime Minister rebutted Mr. Trump? That's the question. He should have publicly rebutted Mr. Trump. There was not even a note of protest, a written note of protest. And this is part of the government's character in dealing with America. Illegal migrant Indians were deported in handcuffs and leg chains. Not a word of protest. Steep tariffs were imposed on Indian exports and deadlines have been set. Not a word of protest. US voted in favor of the IMF loan to Pakistan. Not a word of protest. Yes. Foreign students, including Indian students, barred from enrolling in Harvard. Not a word of protest. Student visa interviews were suspended. Not a word of protest.
So please
President
conclude,
Trump invites General Asim Munir to dinner and called him a phenomenal partner. Not a word of protest. That is how President Trump cannot be rebutted by this government. Because they don't protest against Mr. Trump. Maybe they hope there will be an up ki baar, another Trump sarkar. Fortunately, the Constitution of the United States doesn't permit another Trump sarkar. So I finally appeal to the government, like the military leadership showed exemplary leadership and was candid and forthright. Please, from today onwards, show exemplary leadership, be candid and forthright, and take the country into